Now let's go ahead and take a look at the defense, and you should be seeing the screenshot that is going to show what the defense actually looks like when it's on the field, because I make a ton of substitutions in my defense. I put corners at safety, safety at linebackers, linebackers at defensive line. It's a lot going on, so take a look. You'll actually see where everybody is positioned. But now I just want to go through and talk about some of the players themselves. Starting with the defensive line, let's take a look at Ndamukong Suh. He's going to be, as you saw, the only one that is actually on the field, unless I do run big nickel over G, in which case Fletcher Cox is going to be that defensive tackle. But he is the lowest he could be. That was basically just in order for me to be able to put a defensive chemistry on him, right? To put lockdown so we could get those corners to play a lot better. But nonetheless, in my 3-3-5 and my 3-3-5 odd scheme, Ndamukong Suh slides down to play that nose tackle role. And because he has the run stopper archetype, inside stuff is a 2 ability point ability. I believe on most defensive tackles, it's a 3 ability point ability. So if we just slide him down to play nose tackle in 3-3-5, inside stuff's a 2 ability point ability. And with 95 strength and 90 block shed as my run stuffer on a budget team, I can't ask for much more. Yes, I would like his power move and his finesse move to be a lot better, especially when rushing the quarterback. That's why I do like Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald is still way too expensive. Ndamukong Suh is a much cheaper option specifically for that role. DeMarcus Ware and Chandler Jones, they're going to slide down and play the ends. Now, I don't have abilities on my ends on my main team. I do have abilities on these, and we'll get into that here in a second. Very similarly as to why we have abilities on our tackles, which is why I wanted to have abilities on our edge rushers too. But DeMarcus Ware and Chandler Jones, two of the better budget edge rushers that you can have in the game. It's a little precursor to my edge rusher, top 3 edge rusher budget cards that are going to be coming pretty soon. But this DeMarcus Ware has 90 speed and 91 acceleration from an edge rusher on a budget. Awesome. 93 strength, meeting that threshold. 90 block shed, meeting that threshold. 90 power, and 90 finesse move. That's why you want to have this card right here on your team rushing the quarterback. Chandler Jones, very similar. Not as good of a card in my opinion because he does not meet all of those thresholds. However, he does meet some pretty high thresholds in a couple of the attributes that you like to see. Only 80 speed and 86 acceleration and 87 strength and 84 block shed. So definitely not what you like to see there. That 99 play rec's pretty awesome. 98 tackle is good. The 95 power and 95 finesse move are really awesome on this budget card right here. That 95 power move is going to meet that threshold for even some of the higher overall cards in the game. So you definitely like to see that from this Chandler Jones card. So that's what we're looking like there. Now for our linebackers, once again, we put safeties at linebackers. We've got Minkah Fitzpatrick and Adrian Amos playing those outside linebacker roles. And then our user is this Brian Dawkins card, which if you don't know about this card, this is one of the better user cards in the game. I wouldn't recommend using it on a 94 to 95 overall team or higher, but definitely on a team like this, you gotta have this card. 96 speed, 97 acceleration. When you add in the fact that we have Sprinter maxed out, that is something I would definitely prioritize on your team for sure. It has 90 zone coverage and 87 hit power, which is not terrible. Come down to the block shed at 69, which is not the worst. But the thing that I like about this card the most, in addition to the speed, is the fact that he has 91 change of direction. This change of direction is rivaling very similar to the likes of Derwin James, rivaling the likes of Bob Sanders, which are some of the better middle linebackers. They're safeties, but middle linebackers in the game as far as the user goes. This 91 change direction is going to allow you to hit multiple areas of the field as you're usering with this Brian Dawkins card. So I really like this card as a user. That's going to be the middle linebacker in a 3-3-5 scheme with Fitzpatrick and Amos at the right and left outside linebacker position. Now for the corners, this Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie card is one of the best corners in the game if you're on a budget. Still really one of the better corners on a lot of teams, and this isn't even a theme team. Let's keep that in mind. This isn't a Cardinals, this isn't a Raiders team. This guy has 95 speed, 94 acceleration, 96 man, 95 zone, 96 press. You'd like for that to be at 99 and 99, but this is a budget team. It's not going to be there. 93 play rec, 93 jumping, you like to see that, but the coverage stats on a budget are really, really solid. And when you take into account the fact that this guy has good man coverage, you could play man, you could press up, and not necessarily be beaten like you could on some other budget cornerbacks. We'll get into that here in a second as to why I've got some of those playing safety. Denzel Ward is he's a smaller step down from Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, but is still a solid option when you consider he has 95 speed, 95 acceleration, and 94 man coverage. He does have 89 zone, falling short of that 90. You don't like to see that, but the 93 press is not going to get you killed unless you're running up against the 96 to 97 overall squad that's got Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, just to name a couple, right? That's the only reason that should kill you too bad as far as the press department goes with him. Our slot corner is going to be Jonathan Jones. It's a pretty solid card from the Super Bowl promo. The Super Bowl pass promo, that is, with 95 speed, 95 acceleration, meets that 95 man threshold and 91 zone coverage over that 90 threshold, so you like to see that. The press stat is not that great at 87. That could definitely be better, but nonetheless, we're using him in the slot, so hopefully that's not going to hurt us too bad, right? That's the thought process there. Dante Jackson, speed-wise, is pretty awesome. We're going to use him at the free safety position at 96 speed. The 91 man is pretty good. The 87 zone is not very good, and he only has 87 press as well. I just felt like he was better used at the safety position than that slot corner. That's why he's there. Finally, we have Jamel Dean. This is another solid budget option. It's only going to cost you about $30K for this card here. Same thing with Dante Jackson, about $30K or so. Look at the coverage stats there. So the reason that I'm using Jonathan Jones in the slot as opposed to Jamel Dean, Jonathan Jones has 87 press. Jamel Dean has 89 press, right? Obviously, that's higher, but that's not meeting any threshold. Jonathan Jones has 95 man coverage. Jamel Dean only has 92, so that is meeting a threshold there, which is why I wanted to use him in the slot, and I'm using Jamel Dean as my strong safety. With that 96 speed, you definitely like to see that. So that's how the defense shakes out. Let's take a look at the abilities and see what we're looking like there. So Denzel Ward, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, you'll notice that they have the shutdown X Factor. You don't have to put that on there. I will say that Acrobat on Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, on Jonathan Jones, and Denzel Ward is very nice on this team, considering we have to use double or nothings on the outside. So only having a one ability point ability on my corners to where they're going to get diving swats and interceptions is a pretty solid ability there. DeMarcus Ware and Chandler Jones, so we do have double nothing on them. This is a change from my main team where I don't run abilities on my edge rushers. I do here because their attributes are a little less than, obviously, the higher overall cards. I want to have these dominant pass rush wins, even though it does cost twice the cost, right? So for the pass rushing moves, they use a point system. The double or nothing is going to grant dominant wins, but you're going to have to spend double the points, right? It's a 2 ability point ability for both. However, I feel like it's pretty necessary. Adrian Amos and Minkah Fitzpatrick both have flat zone KO. So in 3-3-5, I'm putting them in curl flats. I'm putting them in hard flats quite often. That's why they've got the flat zone KO ability on them. Because they are zone archetypes, that's only a 1 ability point ability. Your hybrid archetypes, unfortunately, that's, I believe, a 2 ability point ability, and some of those can't even get that ability. The last one is going to be Ndamukong Suh. We've already touched on this. Inside stuff. Quicker run sheds against inside zone plays. A 2 ability point ability. We do have 1 ability point left over that I could put out on someone. I just haven't figured out who it is, and I just didn't really want to use the additional training for it. But nonetheless, that is the offense. That is the defense. Special teams, we picked up. We don't have Morton Anderson. Special teams, we've got Joey Sly, one of the better budget kickers. I believe he's got 84 kick power. Cameron Johnson at the punter. Kick returner, we've put Brandon Ayuk in there. And at the specialist here, obviously Cam Akers going to be the third down power running back. Slot wide receiver is going to be Isaac Bruce. Sub linebacker is going to be Adrian Amos. He is there because I can't put Brian Dawkins there. I do have to manually sub Brian Dawkins and Minkah Fitzpatrick in at the linebacker, which I am able to do. I could put my strong safety in at the sub linebacker position. Just keep that in mind. The ends, once again, Chandler Jones, DeMarcus Ware. Defensive tackle, Sue and Cox. And then we've got Jonathan Jones at the slot cornerback. This is just holdovers from my main team. You can put whatever you want to on for the team strategy. You can do whatever coach, whatever uniforms. If you've got one extra item that you need, for example, Walter Jones to get to 90 strength, right? Go ahead and grab someone else. Go ahead and grab the Seahawks light uniform. That'll get him that additional one. Do want to touch on the coach. So for the chemistry purposes, which I'll touch on here in a second, I did have to power him up significantly high, all the way up to use 1,500 training, and then to use the training, well, more than 1,500 training, actually, it was a lot more. But that allowed me to put more of my chemistries, offensive and defensive, on him, which then benefit my team. Because the lower overall cards, I could not add the ×2 and ×3 chemistry on some of the other players like I could on my main team. So that's why I've got him powered up, and I've got a lot of chemistries on him, but it adds to my main team. Offense is the LA Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders. Are they LA or Las Vegas? I don't know. I say it wrong all the time. Las Vegas Raiders. Defense, base 46. And then there's the visuals, right? So I did allude to my chemistries. Let's take a look at that real quick. We've got tier 9 play fake, so we don't have tier 10. The only thing tier 10 additionally does is give +2 awareness and +2 stamina, which could be beneficial. I just don't have the players to be able to add it on there. But you get all the added attributes, all the added benefits and attributes on the screen there. Same thing with lockdown. Lockdown, if I was able to get tier 10, would give me +1 awareness and stamina. It would also give me +1 man coverage. I just don't have the additional cards to be able to do that, but we do get all the attribute boosts that you can see on the screen right there. We did go ahead and prioritize maxing out 40 sprinters, and I would definitely recommend doing this. It gives you +2 acceleration, +2 speed, +1 jumping to all of the players that you have it on there. You'll notice it's not on any of my offensive or defensive linemen, so keep that in mind. These do come at a cost of -2 strength. That's why I don't have it on my O or D linemen. -2 change of direction, which is a bit of a downer, especially not on a theme team because they can't kind of wash out there. And then -2 agility, so just keep that in mind. And then here's some additional players that I've got just to help boost up. For example, Dallas Cowboys, I have 5 players, right? This is helping DeMarcus Ware get to that additional strength that he would need to be at to help meet a threshold, right? So we put Ezekiel Elliott at the backup running back position, for example, La'el Collins the backup tackle position, to give me an additional 5 players, or 5 players total. This allows +1 strength. It does also allow +1 impact blocking, which is why you'll see I have the Eagles up to 5, which helps Brandon Brooks. I got the Patriots up to 5, which helps Joe Tooney. I also have the Rams, which is going to help Ndamukong Suh. And then I have the Ravens, which is going to help Orlando Brown. So it just makes sense. The Patriots, I'm also helping Chandler Jones out as well because I have Patriots chemistry on him. Nothing else really matters. These brawler, that's just a holdover from my main team. My goodness, I've talked so much. I've got a headache. I need to go grab some water, probably take a Tylenol or something like that. But nonetheless, that is the new sub 500 budget team. Once again, you should be able to get this team for about 710K, which you should have more than if you have been doing all of your dailies and if you sold all the cards that we don't currently have on the team, which is a lot of them. This is pretty much a brand new team. And a team that's pretty solid. I've been taking this thing out, playing it in the upper tiers, right? Playing it in All-Star, playing it in All Madden. They play pretty well. You obviously have to be pretty good at the game, right? If you're in those higher tiers, you got to be pretty good at the game. But you're going into higher overalls, you got to be smart. However, it holds its own, right? They're tough games, don't get me wrong, just because they are lower overall players. But if you're a good enough player, I think you can definitely make this team work. And if you're playing in the lower tiers, if you're playing in Veteran, if you're playing in Star, you're going to definitely do some work with this team, I can promise you that. Okay, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, leave a like rating. If you have a question, a comment related to the video, if I did not explain something properly, or if you just want to say what's up, leave that in the comment section down below. I love interacting with each and every one of you down there. And if you'd like to see more content, hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to stay updated with all of my uploads. I'm ImJslay, signing out today. I'll catch you all on my next video.